Hey y'all, this is Xenoxis. And this is the Xenoxis show for the 20th of May 2023, so it's almost been exactly 1 month since last recording, which I have not yet uploaded, by the way, because it ended up being only like, I think, not even like 22 minutes, I think. Because it was Xenoxis show for the 21st of April. And then it was, how long? 21 minutes, 27 seconds, so that's not even 1 gigabyte. So yeah, and I did write a bunch of text for it and stuff that. I'm actually gonna be listening to some music here in the background. I would probably need to, I'm gonna boost the volume a little bit on it. Not too much, because I'm listening to like, the Doppler or MMX3, basically like a playlist for this day. It is a bit weird with the order. I wonder if the order is supposed to be like the ending theme is first, then it's the Doppler battle, then it's Kane's Lab, and then there's like Crush Crawfish and stuff that, and the last thing is in the end are like the Capcom logo and like the stage claim music and stuff that, which is a bit weird. And certain ones are like way too short, like they should have like used some at least extended versions of certain other things, like, you know, because yeah, you know, so but yeah, but anyway, right, yeah. That's better actually. Last time I did a recording, I did do actually quite a bit of a big text. So I don't know exactly what my playtime now is in Xenoverse 2, because last time when I did it, I wrote down here somewhere my playtime basically at one point. Yeah, on the 30th of April I was at 81 hours before I began playing during that day. During the 30th of April. So I'm over that now. I think I'm over 90 hours at this point into it so far. Stuff that, yeah. So I did write like a first text that I thought about, okay, this is the text that I'm just gonna post on the actual 21st of April video. And the one I'm doing now on the 20th of May is probably gonna have the other stuff. But the other stuff is so big basically, because I did write down certain things, of course, came from certain forums, like the stuff I read at first is just from memory, from reading on various places and stuff that, of kind of how things work. And then of course on the 1st of May I wrote extra stuff and stuff that about like hate, white, health, race health values. And that is of course in Xenoverse 2, of course, because, you know, they have different values for what their health is like, basically. Like Majin has the best, and Male Majin has the best, and Namekian is on second place. Now I know that there have been certain things that have been rebalanced a bit, so I don't know if all of it is out of date or if there's only certain things that are out of date. Because I basically know that, for example, for basic attacks, basically the Male Sayian is at 8.0. So I don't know if it's just that every single attack does 8 damage with like no, when you're not counting in stats. And then like Female Sayian has the worst at 5th place when it comes to basic attack with 0.0. And supposedly there was a rebalance that made them closer, but it seems like if there's only 1 point of difference, right, or the fact that it's 8.000, do they mean like that it's supposed to be like 8,000 or whatever, you know, or whatever? But yeah. But of course, when it comes to, for example, basic key blasts, which is part of basic attack, by the way, as a stat, Female Saiyan is of course at 8.000 again, and Male Saiyan is instead in the inverse at being the lowest. Stuff that, and also like Super Majin Female is the strongest with Human Female at the bottom. Key Supers, then it's Female Saiyan again strongest, and Male Human is actually the worst at that. And yeah, have movement speed, you have movement speed, which is pretty interesting, because you have ground speed, which is running speed, air speed, non-dragon dash, flying speed, and boost dash speed, and then step dash. And then you have, of course, the racial bonuses, the specific ones. So Male Majin, for example, has 25% damage reduction when above 2 stamina bars, takes double damage if under 2 stamina bars, access to unique and powerful racial supers. So for that race, maxing out your stamina is not a bad idea. But the thing is, right, if you go with very few stamina bars, for example, if you go with the lowest amount of stamina bar, like you can wear certain gear or certain QQ bangs to make sure that you have low stamina, then, for example, when stamina is broken, it recovers quicker. That's the thing, right? Because the thing is, if you have a lot of stamina, once you get broken, you stay broken for a really long time. And then, like, the opponent can get in so much free damage on you because you cannot, like, do the dodge, or you cannot do, like, the teleport anymore and stuff that to, like, dodge and stuff that, like, the whole instant transmission thing, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, access to unique and powerful racial supers, because basically, like, Candy Beam, you have to be like a Majin to use like Candy Beam and stuff that. Female Majin, stamina refills 100% faster when stamina broken. Access to unique and powerful racial supers. Male and female human has 5% damage to basic attacks at full ki. Extra ki generation. Male Saiyan, female Saiyan, 0.7.5% damage, 175% health, and 7.5% damage after being revived. These two stack and stay after they're activated. So yeah. So I don't know if it's basically like once you go on the 25% health, if you have any sort of health recovery thing. If you have any sort of like health recovery, like Super Soul, for example, I don't know if that mean that, okay, these do stack and stay after they're activated. Do they only mean that, of course, that the whole damage here when under 25 health, let's say you go below 25 health, you activate something that regenerates your health up to 30%, going below 25% again, will stack, or will it not stack? Or do they only mean that they stack, like the whole extra damage when revived and the extra damage when under 25% health? Because it's also 0.5% increase damage that you deal after being revived. Now the revived thing makes sense, right? Because that's supposedly stack after they're activated. So for example, if you get revived a lot of times, like you get stronger and stronger, because you know that's the whole thing that the Saiyan gets stronger every time they come close to death and stuff that. So maybe it is supposed to stack like that. So if you have ways to regenerate health while staying at low, you know, you have some pretty insane damage output potential. Namekian has, of course, 20% stamina recovery. Items are 50% more effective. Mild health regeneration, 170% health, and off to summer boss. I wonder if the whole items are 50% more effective, if that's supposed to be your clue to the fact that when you're using a Namekian, you have a higher chance to generate the better QQ bangs. Now the thing is though, it seems like you have to use those QQ bangs that you can only get via multiplayer. You go to the multiplayer mode, man, and then you do the basically multiplayer like parallel quest, I believe it is that you do. You do parallel quest like in multiplayer. But I don't know why you have to speak to the multiplayer man to do so. Like, or the multiplayer mode character, like why can't you use Q4? Because you can go and do like online parallel quests, why don't you just go to that place and do it? Why do you have to speak to the multiplayer man? But I guess just that's how it works basically. You have also mild health generation, regeneration, 170% health and over 2 stamina bars. And there's also, you know, the whole Piccolo Super Soul that you can get, or I'm neither blah 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 Kami or the other thing, whatever it is, which also allows you to have like health regen when not max stamina and stuff like that. So yeah, and then Frieza Race 50% more speed when under 50%, gain stamina on each basic strike, which is really good, of course. Then you have like combo modifiers. And then you have transformation, what certain other transformations do. A lot of these have, of course, been rebalanced around, so a lot of these are not correct anymore. And stuff that, like you have, of course, you have Super Saiyan, you have, or first you have Unleashed Potential, then you have Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3, and then you have Super Vita 1, Super Vita 2, Future Super Saiyan, you have Kaioken which of course is also like Kaioken times 10, I believe, or first it's Kaioken times 3, and then times 5, and then times 10, and times 20 it goes up to, I believe. Or Kaioken times 3 makes set of energy cost only 1 bar, Kaioken 20 makes set of energy free, and all stamina spending skills that aren't evasive spending skill that aren't evasive skills in or tri-beam. So yeah, golden form, purification, giant Namekian, flying nimbus, which is of course the special thing, and then I had here at the bottom, I'm going to try and find somewhere with calculations for Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Evolved. So for Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, the buffs, which is basically Super Saiyan Blue, 20% increased basic attack, 20% plus strikes, 20% key blast increase, 20% count stamina recovery, 20% air stamina recovery, debuffs, plus 12% damage taken from all attacks. This is not true anymore. Rapid key drain, 1 bar every 8 seconds. This has been nerfed as well, with an XL buff stacked on top of any 3 stats on Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, for 5% damage to each attack stat that received a stacked XL buff. So what that means, like XL buff, like buffs can be of different sizes. So that sometimes on certain clothing, you can say, for example, oh, this piece of clothing, or not really on clothes. That's wrong. On Super Souls, you can sometimes say, oh, this Super Soul buff this by a certain amount, and then it's an L, there can be an S, there can be an XL. XL is, of course, the biggest form buff. I actually have it written down further above here. So the buffs are, an S buff is like a 5% buff, an M buff, so it's small, medium, large, and XL, extra large. A M buff is 10%, an L buff is 15%, and an XL buff is 20%. And then you have, of course, soft caps. So soft caps are different for each race or skill. Depends on their combo string damage numbers. The usual soft cap range is from 70 to 80, but some go as high as 120. Usually the races with lower basic damage can go higher before reaching the soft cap. That means that races with higher basic attack damage baseline does not have to invest as many points to reach the soft cap, unlike other races, meaning they can put those points somewhere else. So basically after that point you gain less from the stat. So if we go back and look, for example, at basic attack, for example, if you're a Male Saiyan, for example, and you have 8.0, the main problem is, of course, is that Male Saiyan has 8.0 in basic attack, right? So they have the highest, so they won't need as much basic attack, basically. But the Female Saiyan is completely reverse with 7.0. But then on the basic blast, the Female Saiyan is the best, and the Male Saiyan is the worst. So that means that you still want to have a big investment into basic attack and basic blast, because so if you only go with 70 or 80 points, yeah, sure, you will be great at the thing you're great at. Like Male Saiyans will be great at the basic attack, Female Saiyan will be great at the basic key blasts, but they will still be bad at the thing that they're bad at. So Male Saiyans will still be bad at their basic key blasts. Female Saiyan will still be bad at their basic attack. That is how things are, basically, pretty much. Yeah, wow, there hasn't been that many Mavericks yet. Most of the Mavericks comes later, actually. There's only been one Maverick so far. Kurs Crawfish. Okay, Crush Crawfish. Kurs Crawfish, that is because of the Blizzard Buffalo thing. Because of the misspelling that's in the PlayStation and I think Saturn version. Like there are intros for the bosses. And then there's like a, instead of Blizzard Buffalo, they switch the 2 second letters around. So they basically switch the second and the third letter. So instead of Blizzard, it's Billsard. And otherwise it's spelled correct. And then if you do the same thing, for example, if you do that for every boss, for example, so Crush Crawfish is Kurs Crawfish if you switch those two, for example. So yeah, Blizzard Buffalo becomes Billsard Buffalo. Balst Hornet. What else? Let's go down here. Vlot. Yeah, because it's Volt Catfish. So it's Vlot Catfish. Tununel Rhino, because it's Tunnal. So it's Tnunel. So it's Tunnel Rhino. And then you have Zoic Seahorse. Of course. Noen Tiger. Garvity Beetle. Yeah, Garvity Beetle. Noen Tiger, Neon Tiger, Gravity Beetle. So yeah, so it's pretty hilarious. There are actually certain stages that I do think has like a better there is like a what do you call it? There are like certain songs that are like more kind of in the PlayStation version, even though I haven't played it. I remember seeing actually the PlayStation version at the store back in the day and really wanting to get it for the PlayStation, but I never managed to get it, and stuff like that, because it's so expensive for a PlayStation game or whatever, right? Because a lot of people are like, if it's $5.99 like Swedish krona for a PlayStation game, that was expensive back in the day, because like the thing was like PlayStation games were way cheaper than like Super SNES games. Like a lot of SNES games, like people forget, like they were like cheaper SNES games, but for example all the Donkey Kong Country games were like super expensive. They weren't cheap games, and then people say, but games were so much cheaper back in the day. No, not really. A lot of SNES games were expensive, especially the bigger games. Stuff like that, they were pretty expensive. But that's also because of Nintendo licensing and stuff that made them those expensive and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah, so they cover that with the stats, of course, that they have the whole thing, and stuff that with the way the attributes works and stuff that, and the soft caps and stuff that. So yeah. Now, of course, things I believe has been rebalanced when it comes to basic attacks, so they're now much closer, so it won't be like a 1 point difference there, and stuff that. But it might just be that instead of 8.0000, it's actually supposed to be like 8,000, and then like it's 7,000. Because if there's a 1,000 point difference, then that's a big deal, of course. Now, if there's only like a 1 point difference of it being like 8, but why would it be like 8.0000? And stuff that, but why add that point there? I've never seen like 8,000 or 4,000 be like 8 and then 0.000, just because it's like 80,000, then it's 80 and then it's 0.000, right? That makes sense, but then why add a point when it's like 8,000 or something like that? Like, yeah. But I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but yeah. And of course, the QQ bangs are interesting, of course. So, how attributes works, each point adds about 0.01% damage per point, or 10 points per 1% of damage at max level, and a bit less at lower levels. This varies a bit by race. So some races, due to the multiplays, may see less damage, others may see a bit more, but that's about what it equals. QQ bangs change damage by 6.66% with a 5 QQ bang, with no attributes added. When attributes are added for basic attacks, a 5 plus QQ bang lose 0.01% per attribute point to how much they add. So a 125 attribute stat will only get 5.41% extra damage for a 5 plus QQ bang. They don't mention like the 6 plus, so I'm guessing that was before they know about the 6 plus QQ bangs that exist. A minus 5 QQ bang is a difference, since it's a 0.005% reduction to its protection number. So 125 attributes makes a minus 5 QQ bang lose you 5.98% damage instead of the full 6.66. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So if you have the max stat in something, you won't get as much out from positives, but you won't lose as much from negatives, so to speak. And soft caps also are not affected by QQ bangs. However, QQ bang damage is reduced by its own calculations in the section above, as I wrote down there. Soft cap happens before QQ bangs and are unaffected by QQ bangs. Right. And then I had some stuff over here at the first, because these I already knew about, like for the 2 pawns equals 1 extra bar of ki and stamina. At the 4 pawns is exactly 2 extra bars, and 125 points is 3 extra bars. So it's like a 42 plus 42, 84 of course. But then for the last point it's only a 41% point increase. With the correct clothing as well, or rather with the correct QQ bangs, you can reach a total of 10 ki and stamina with the right setup. Although again, that requires you to max both stats out. And this was before I knew all of the stat like differences of certain things, and stuff like that, so yeah. And right, and at that point when I did a video, or maybe it was on the 30th of April, when I wrote some of the latest stuff, at one point I basically had like all of the DLC that had come out, but then of course they came out extra DLC recently, but I of course was able to get that because I already had the Justice DLC pack. I had like the latest DLC pack, and I had it as a pack to save more cash of course, because I didn't get the individual packs when they were on sale. And for example, when things are on sale, it's often better to not get like the bundle pack and instead get each thing individually. But when it's not on sale, then it's often cheaper to get like the pack that gives you several things, stuff like that. So yeah. So I still have all of the DLC basically at this point as well, even though I like the new stuff. So yeah. The only thing I'm missing is one of the anime music pack, because I have the second one. So yeah. And that was mostly to guess Shusetsu Dynamic, which is the Dragon Ball Super Intro music, the Genkai Toppa X Survivor, which is the Tournament of Power arc, kind of intro music, and then you have the Kyokuno Battle instrumental, which is the Jiren Battle specific, I believe. But you also hear it, I believe, at other points as well, although I'm not 100% certain. But yeah, but the highlight is of course when it's like the Jiren, when it's like fully powered Jiren versus like Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and stuff like that, so yeah. But there are more songs than that of course that is in that, so yeah. And then when I wrote more stuff on the first like of May, I wrote about the height and stuff like that, so like shortest character, then you have like 95% health, so you don't even have 100%, so you don't have like normal health, so you have a bit lower health. But you have 110% speed, for example. And then short character, tall character, and tallest character. Tallest character, then you have 110% health, so you have a 10% health increase from normal if you're just making a short character. So why don't they call something like a medium-sized character? That's weird. So it's like it is shortest, short, or tall, or tallest. So why isn't it like short character, medium-sized character, tall character, and then tallest, or whatever? But yeah. But then it's 110% health, but then it's only 95% movement speed. With weight, it's basically like thin. Then it's a 3% damage to key moves, which I believe count both. Now it says key moves there, so that means that has to mean, like, it's a bit weird that it was phrased like that, because that should mean that it's only like key supers and key like ultimate attacks and stuff. That it should only be like supers and the ultimate attacks and like dual ultimates of course as well, right? Because it says key moves. Because moves, then you basically think that, oh, this is one you have to hold in like a R2 or the other thing to make, you know, like to make either like the super moves or the ultimates. So it doesn't mean regular ki blasts. Or maybe it does, you know. But then it's basically one is like plus 3% damage to ki moves and one is minus 3% damage to strike moves. Of course, if you're bulky, then you deal less damage with ki moves, but you do more damage with strikes. So the way health works, health bar is 10k HP. Each point gives you 30 HP. Each arrow for a QQ bang. So basically, you know, it can have a maximum of like what 5 arrows positive. Gives you about 10 health. Attribute basically it's the same as giving 10 into your health stat, and that's basically like 300 HP and stuff to that. So yeah, because if each is 30, of course 30 times 1 times 10 is of course 300. And then for example, if you go with the 300 HP for example, and you times that times 5, then it's 1500. So you have like 1500 health from having 5 QQ bangs for example, and stuff that's yeah. And then if each point is like 30 HP, so it's 30 times 125. So that would be 3750 health if you have 125 in your health. And then if we plus that, of course, plus the 1500, then you have 5250. And that you have to add to basically because you gain health basically at each level. And basically I have raised health values at 1 point. So health values to level 80 with 0 attributes, 0 QQ bangs, tallest option 110% health, 10k HP is 1 bar. Then Male Majin is the highest at 21,457 health. So yeah, and that's of course level 80 with 0 attribute points. So that means that you still gain like health points from levels. That's really what gives you the biggest one. But of course, as you saw, if you go for example with 125 health, then that will add an extra 3,750 if you have 125 health. And if you have of course a 5 health increase, then that's plus 1,500 extra HP as well. And if you combine both of those, having a 5-star QQ bang, or on clothes basically having like plus 5 in health, but then you have to wear a full set that has, you know, the 5 arrows basically, because the QQ bang is a full set of clothes basically, pretty much. So basically it's chest, its legs, its gloves, and its feet, and all those needs to be basically 5 plus in the health stat. And if you combine both, of course you gain 5,250% extra health. You have to add that to whatever the value is, of course. It will be interesting to see though what their health is at level 99, how much extra it is. Because you know, of course adding another 5k or 5.2k or 5.25 pretty much, 5.25 k health. Yeah, that is, I mean, that's basically half an extra bar. Basically, for example, if you max out the stat. But of course, for certain races, it will matter more. Because, for example, like Frieza Race has the lowest, equal with the Female Majin and Female Sayian at 18,856 health. So they're not even two bars, basically, while humans, Namekians, and Male Majin are above. Male Sayian is below that as well. So yeah, Male Sayian is at 9,181 at level 80, so yeah. So this definitely, but that is of course if you choose the tallest option, 110% health. So my Sayian, of course, my Sayian, which was the first character I created in my first create a character CAC, or CAC, CAC, or CAC, I don't know how you pronounce it really. But yeah, So basically, yeah, so like, because I said like the like shortest character, then you have 95% health. I believe I made it the shortest, or maybe I only made it short. I really hope I made it short, because otherwise, if you only have 95% health or what's normal, then that means, for example, that you will only have 95% of the health that's listed here. So instead of having 181, you would have like 5% less than that, and stuff that, which is not a big deal, of course, you know, and stuff that. But for example, the fact that these stats values are actually with 110% health. These stats values, when you have like 90,181, that's what 110% health. So it's a big decrease actually, going from 110 to like 95% health. So it's actually way less health that you have. Quite a big, because that's like, yeah, that's like yeah, that's a 15% decrease. So basically I would have 15% if I went with the shortest size for my Male Saiyan, then I would have 15% less health than 19,181 at level 80 pretty much. So yeah, I'm currently level 90, by the way. The interesting thing is, of course, when you reach level 80 and you start increasing the max level by going into the place where you can increase your max level, keep in mind that that increases the max level of all of your characters pretty much. So you don't have to go there on multiple characters. But for example, when you have like the stats for the like once you reach level 80, at that point it's, I believe the first time I think it's only 10 TP medals for the first few levels, or maybe it's 20. Basically it goes from 20, from 80 to 85, I believe it's 20 TP medals, and then it goes up to 40 between 85, basically, so 85 to, oh well, you're already 85, so it's 86 to 90, basically. Then it's 40 TP medals, and above level 90, I still don't know what the amount is yet. I'm gonna test today and see if it's 60 or not, because here's the thing, right? If it goes, and of course from 80 to 85 being like 20 TP medals, and then 85, 86, or basically 85 to, yeah, because you're still at 85 at that point, like you use 20 medals from 80 to 85, so it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, so it's 100 medals. And then of course it's 85, so it's like 86, 87. So basically you're 85, but you go to 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, basically. So yeah. And then it's 40 each time. And then of course, you know, you would think, oh, it's only gonna increase by 20 again, right? Then it should be 60. But in worst case scenario, it goes up to 80. And if it goes up to 80, basically then it means that it doubles again. That it's not a 20. Because it would be a 20 increase each time. For example, if it would be like 20 TP medals for 80 to 85. 40 TP medals from 85 to 90, like 40, then it's only a 20 increase. And then, for example, from 90 to 95, if it then would be, for example, 60, then it would only be a 20 increase. And then that would mean that 95 to 100, or basically to 99, because 99 is max level, which is a bit weird. It should have been 100 or be higher, because it's so weird that Dragon Ball Kakarot can have such a high max level that you can reach, and then like Dragon Ball Xenoverse is just like, yeah. And maybe it's just that you want to be able to like have like insane max stats on characters, so that your characters can be way stronger than the maybe the max level for enemies still needs to be 99, but that you can go higher for the people that are struggling, or the people that play like solo, or maybe you struggle with certain things and all stuff that. because of course not everyone are gonna get like 6 like QQ banks and stuff that. But yeah. But I am gonna try and figure out at some point, basically, where is the boss encounter. Yeah. But what that's wrong. The boss encounter is the music like before you start fighting the boss. Because the boss battle was earlier. But why is that so long? Why is that like almost 3 minutes? The one that plays just when you encounter the boss. This is basically the one that is when the boss shows up. When the boss basically shows up. And before the boss meter fills. Or basically when the boss meter fills. And then of course the boss team starts. And you only get to listen to the intro music for 1 minute 29 seconds. Well, I say you, but it's like... Yeah, it's an absolute banger, yeah. I really like XT, but the weird thing is, of course, because of how it was in Europe, that's probably why I like XT so much. Because for some reason here in Europe, they decided to skip X2. Yeah, X2 didn't come out in Europe. And it's weird, like you had to import it. So unless you had modified your SNES, you wouldn't be able to play it. And modifying the SNES, basically getting what was called like the Multi-X chip. I believe it was called the same thing on the PlayStation as well. Getting that chip like was expensive. It was almost like buying a new like Super Nintendo, I believe. Or maybe it was even more expensive than that, but yeah. A lot of people did it. And of course, something like Final Fantasy 3, for example. Basically Final Fantasy 6. That had a price tag of almost like 1,000 Swedish kroner. So that would be like paying $100 US for a game today, pretty much. That's what the pricing was of Final Fantasy 6. Basically Final Fantasy 3 if you wanted to import it. Which was pretty insane, by the way. But yeah. Yeah, World Catfish is also really good. But there are certain ones where I prefer, like almost the PlayStation version and stuff that. Which is still weird, like, look, oh, so many people are mad that they didn't get to change the music in the Mega Man Legacy Collection. But why? I'm pretty certain, right, that they could just make it viable, Capcom, but they could patch the game. I understand that apparently patching game for Sony games or something like you have to pay a fee, basically, or whatever it is and stuff that. And I don't know how easy it is to code in to just add like more music and stuff that. But I'm pretty certain that people will be willing to pay for the PSX music being toggleable. The PSX music, so basically the PlayStation / Saturn music for Mega Man X3. The people will be able to get that, or get the version, get the like the PlayStation / Saturn version for X3, like being a selectable version in the game, basically, so that you can just select that version of the game, so that you will get like the misspelled intros. So we get like the misspelled Bilsard Buffalo, the absolute mad lad. And then you have Wild's Team, Tunnel Rhino, Toxic Seahorse. But yeah. Because the interesting thing is, of course, on the PSX version, Zero's Team, for example, becomes kinda a bit like, you know, the whole do. It becomes basically like, you know, like Godot's Team. Well, not really. It doesn't sound like Godot's Team, but it becomes like Yassi, basically, like the whole coffee, you know, like because it's not called like Godot's Team, you know. It's basically like Diego Armando, and it's the whole like the black coffee or whatever it is, you know, and stuff that, or whatever it is. But yeah, but basically like Zero's Team in X3 on PSX becomes basically like a jazz music thing, which sounds like really good, by the way. But this Buffalo is also really good. Now there are certain people that say that the first like Doppler stage has like better music. And yeah, it's gonna take a while to reach that, by the way, because that is... Wait, where is the Doppler stage music? Ending team, Doppler battle, Keen's lab, Cruise Crawfish, Light Capsule, boss battle, Doppler team, Doppler stage 2, Doppler stage... Oh, the stage 1 has already been, but yeah. But there are people that prefer, for example, the PS6 version of Doppler stage 1, which I always find weird. We have Wild's team. That's basically the one that plays in the factory, which is a bit weird. I'd like to consider that to be Wild's team. But I mean, that's because the boss battle is used the whole dun 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 dun, you know. Thunder Rhino, by the way, is really good as well. The thing is, I thought that the Thunder Rhino music for the PS6 would be actually better, because it's so heavy in the SNES version, like heavy with all the instruments and stuff that you would think that, oh, this is gonna be a banger on the PS6, but then on the PS6 it feels less of a banger for whatever weird reason. But there are ones that are like definitely so much better on the PS6 version and stuff like that, but yeah. But of course it's so weird, like if you compare it to X1, like, oh yeah, all of X1's music are really, really good and stuff like that, so yeah, that is something, you know, and stuff like that, so yeah. Or then I talked about Key and Stam again, when I knew more about it here. I already went over how every 42 points equals to 1 bar, except of course for the last bar it's only 41 more points. 5 QQ bangs gives you a 2 plus or 2 minus bars before attributes are calculated. 5 positive arrow are the highest on a piece of gear, and 5 negative arrow are the lowest. Best QQ bangs, I believe, are like 5 or 21 points, and are plus 5 arrows in 4 stats, which is basically a 6-star QQ bangs. So that's 21 points in total, because I've heard people say 21 points. Those are 6-star QQ bangs that require Beerus top and Bardock's top, and the Super Zed mix capsule. There's also a Super mix capsule, and this is of course the Super Zed mix capsule. And of course, being Namekian has a higher chance to roll on it. Keep in mind that the Super Mix Capsule and Super Zed Mix Capsule requires you to speak to multiply mode, NPC, and Q4 parallel quests. And it can be given as a reward, I believe, for most quests. Because the thing is, the parallel quests, right, are the PQs. But why can't you just go to where the PQs are and go for the online there? Why doesn't that trigger it? Or whatever it is. Because the weird thing is, right, that when you're doing like a parallel quest, right, can you like stick with a party member, like is there an option to just like group up, you know, and stuff that, but yeah, you know, because yeah. Now the question is, right, the lower tier of this that is under the Super Mix Capsule is like the Ultimate Mix Capsule, I believe it's called. The question is, what is the best QQ bang you can make with that? Can you make a 6-star QQ bang with that somehow? Because I've tried using like Beerus top and Bardock's top. I've tried using those together with Ultimate Mix, and I'm just getting like 5-star QQ bangs. But is it possible to roll like 5-star QQ bangs that gives no negative stats, or that gives very little negative stats? Is that possible? Or is it better to lower QQ bangs? Because of course lower QQ bangs, for example, certain 5-star QQ bangs are really good, because certain 4-star QQ bangs, okay, they don't give you the 5 plus in a stat, they give you a 4 plus, but then they give you a less of a decrease, because there are certain like 5-star QQ bangs that gives you the 5 plus in, for example, in certain ones gives you only to 1, for example, 1 stat, and then 1 is minus, but then there are ones that give 2 5 pluses on a certain stat, and then there are ones that give you 2 minuses, and then I believe there are ones that gives you like 5 or 4 or 5 positive ones, or 4 positive ones, and then it's 4 negative ones, or whatever it is. But because it's basically, because they split, right, when it comes to clothing and QQ bangs, the stats are split. Like you have a health, you have the basic attack. Well, no, it's not the basic attack stat, it's an attack stat, basically. And the key blast are individual, because the key blast, you can have something that gives you an increase to your normal attacks, but doesn't give you the key blasts, because key blasts are individual. And key blasts, then they don't mean key supers. or the, you know, pipeline punch, by the way. I still have the favorite kind of over there that I'm gonna show you. I think I've shown you that before, but it's the Monster Lemonade, the Aussie Lemonade, which is really good, by the way. So yeah. Now keep in mind, of course, one thing to remember is, of course, so many people are like, oh, this is unhealthy and blah 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 and stuff like that. And yes, it is. But one thing to realize is when you're in Europe, for example, there are more stricter restrictions on certain type of like sodas and stuff that, certain types of food as well, like what's allowed in it. For example, like so many people are like, on certain drinks, it's like, oh yeah, you're drinking all this high fructose corn syrup thing. And it's like, yeah, that's a thing in the US on a lot of sodas. A lot of sodas has the fucking disgusting high fructose corn syrup. And by the way, there was a store that used to have some certain American drinks, like Mountain Dew, for example. And I remember getting the Wolf cans for that, 2 of the small cans. Or basically, instead of being 330 milliliters, which is usually what a can of like Coca-Cola is here in Sweden, then it's like 350 or 360, I believe, in the on those imported ones and stuff. That's yeah. Oh yeah, toxic seahorse. What the heck did it? It skipped Tunnel Rhino, damn it. No, of course, it had listed already 12 Tunnel Rhinos. I didn't realize that. Yeah, Toxic Seahorse is another banger, pretty much. But yeah, so basic attack plus drag plus key super damage formula, racial base, and then it's the up star, a level bonus plus 0.01, and then it's equipment arrows, weight class, transformation bonus, super soul bonus, racial bonus, and then attack multiplier and total damage. A way to see there -1, 0 or 1, depending on how that weight would buff the stat and stuff that. So there's like a lot of like technical things you can go into and stuff that. But yeah, but then we also have, for example, a site here that I copied because these are a later post on like the forum and stuff that. Definitive Xenoverse 2 transformation stats 2023. So this was done more recently. So then you have like all the transformations for, so general information about transformations. Every transformation can have their stamina broken during its animation, some with larger window of opportunity than others. All transformations require a certain amount of key to activate. In the case of Kaioken and Super Saiyan, you need increasing amounts of key to activate high levels of the transformation. The benefits and drawbacks of transformation stack with base character traits, skill points, allotment, and super soul effects. The majority of transformations have built-in pros and cons that have to be weighted with their use. Each of them has strengths and weaknesses that need to be taken into consideration to best optimize their use. Even examples such as Super Saiyan God and potentially use encourage specific playstyles despite their lack of inherent downsides. So then you have like the stuff that all races can use. So Kaioken, 3 times Kaioken, and 20 times Kaioken. Potential Unleashed, which you get from doing the God thing, the God advancement test. But doing that advancement test is pretty annoying because you have to get Z rank on all the other ones. And for some reason, the second test that you do, like no matter it seems how quick I do it, it seems to only reward me with an S instead of the Z. And I don't know if it is that I'm supposed to finish them all with a super or with an ultimate. If there is some kind of like hidden requirement for that. Because it seems that even if you kill them very, very quickly, it seems like that doesn't matter and stuff that. It might just be that I need to like go with higher points into certain things, you know. Yes, stage selection. That is too, of course, stage selection because it changes the music. So right, because when the Doppler stage appears, it changes and stuff like that, but yeah. It's so weird with the order of the music here though, by the way, so yeah. But yeah, then you have Beast Transformation info provided by Steam user Torsten, with Obama testing as well as that main the reshow. So this is by Obamacare, this post, by the way, so yeah. They've given it 4 stars out of 5 basically, this post, so yeah. So Beast Transformation, for example, which is the latest one, is increased auto attack damage by 30%, increased key recovery from combos by 20%, custom heavy string, has vanished attacking combos regardless of player character race, which is really good, custom hair transformations for the first time in this game. If applicable, you won't suddenly grow hairs on Namekian, Majin, or Frieza Race. Drawbacks, increase all attack damage taken by 20%. So yeah, so you take more damage. Does not have a vanish supers like Super Saiyans. 500 key consumed upon transforming. So that's very, very different. The effect that it consumes a lot of key when you do transforming. Här så kommer key mix. Blah blah blah. Tips for transforming into beast without having a guard broken. Additional notes about beast. And of course, Earthlings have the Power Pole Pro as their only thing, or their only normal transformation. They can also still get the Kaioken, 3 times Kaioken, 20 times Kaioken. They can get the potential unleashed and the beast transformation, of course, as well. So yeah, but Earthling gets the Power Pole Pro. Frieza gets the Turn Golden. I think that it's a bit weird though that why isn't it Turn Metal? You know, if you go with the Metal Cooler side, if you choose his side, if you choose Cooler side instead of Frieza's, like why can't you have like Turn Metal and stuff that instead? So yeah, Mayan Race is of course quite interesting. The Purification, because that basically turns you into Kid Buu. So that there are a lot of people say, oh, that's not very, very good, but you know, it's very interesting. Of course, it does increase the damage you take. Stamina breaks knocks the use out of the transformation. Use become locks to Kid Boost and time moveset while in this form, including combos, key, best variations, and key strike supers. You are affected by different color copy of Kid Buu. But yeah. Namekian is pretty bad because sure, becoming giant is really cool and stuff that, but it's like stamina is damage instead of health. So the interesting thing is for Namekians, you kind of want to go with like a super soul that makes you like regain stamina and stuff that a lot, and having very, very high stamina is really good because basically stamina is damage instead of health. So when you're giant, you take stamina damage instead. And the stage selection is not my favorite really. The stage selection is a bit too short with its loop. Like the X1 is of course so freaking good, the X1 stage select music, which is actually pretty funny because it becomes works once you get to the Sigma stages. The dun 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 dun, you know. So yeah, right. And Saiyans of course has Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan 3 is of course decrease the key restoration rate, 5 bars of key to activate. There used to be a stamina debuff to Super Saiyan 3 where you could not recover key faster when on the ground. This debuff has been removed. Now it's normal stamina recovery as of the Beast transformation update. Super Vita, of course, is more focused around the key damage, or not key damage, but key blasts. But yeah, but normal Super Vita has the same basic key blast damage increase as Super Saiyan 3. Basic melee damage taken -5. and stuff like that. So you have, yeah. And of course Super Vegeta 2 has increased the key skill damage by 17.5%, so it's even more. And then you have Future Super Saiyan, which I forgot exactly where you get the Future Super Saiyan transformation. And then Super Saiyan God, of course. The thing is that Super Saiyan God, of course, has a higher basic attack increase with 40% and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting. Yeah. This is also banger. The staff roll. Basically the credits when your character goes from right to left, or maybe it's left to right, or whatever it is. And it kind of looks like the starting stage, basically, pretty much. This is probably one of my favorite staff rolls, actually. But yeah, so that comes ending with a heavy attack deal between 20 and 36% more damage on the final strike. The stack damage boost seems to be disputed. When inputs are timed correctly, you will hear a sharp sound that confirms whether the final strike lands. And the drawbacks is, of course, combo inputs need to be timed carefully in order to maximize damage output. This battle is even a downside, as it's still an extent skill whether this mechanic is optimally used or not. Yeah, male and female variants are differently reported. Female variants has greater movement speed buff and combos ending with heavy attacks and opponents to the ground. It's actually kind of true. But I feel like that's what the heavy Saiyan do normally as well, right? The female one. When you use the heavy attack, it always ends with her like kicking down, like tsh, like doing this, like the flip thing. I think it is. That they do, which basically knocks an enemy to the ground. That's just part of their heavy combo. Like that's a heavy combo ender and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah. And of course Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan does not have the same increase, but that's basically all attack damage. That's not just basic attacks instead. Of course, Super Saiyan God Evolution, that will be that will be basically at and that will be at level 95. You get that with increased stamina restoration rate, decrease all damage taken by minus 10%. So basically, you take 10% less damage. So yeah, activate key auto drain. Minus 18%, Formula A 28%, decreased key restoration rate, and then you have non-created character or cast character specific, or non-CAC basically. So cast character specific, those are like the cast of characters. So yeah, this is the one that plays on Kaiser Sigma, basically Emperor Sigma. This music I feel is kind of the most unique Sigma music, I feel like, because it sounds very, very different from the other ones, and the cast Sigma is always very interesting, right? Because it's not the whole being a wall. Of course, X2 Sigma was very different because it was the whole Sigma was the whole Wolverine class, and then his second form was just the virus form basically. Which, by the way, yeah, it looked cool and stuff there, but still, you know, so yeah. But technically you could say that Sigma has 3 forms, because sometimes you can screw up the thing, making it to the top, because there is a certain place on the screen where you can get stuck if you're really unlucky. And basically once you get stuck, it's really hard to basically recover from that, because it's hard to know exactly where your character are at that point exactly. Now you might say, oh, but just go to the middle of the screen basically and try to jump up or whatever, you know, but But yeah, but you basically can get crushed. You know, stuff there, but yeah. And supposedly if you have all the upgrades, if you have like the golden bomber as they call it, which is basically the replacement for the Hadouken and stuff there. A lot of people say, oh, the Sea Saber is the replacement. But that's bull because of the fact of how you get the golden thing. Like you don't get any of the pink ships. And then you get all of the other upgrades. You get like all of the hot tanks. You get all of the hot tanks and you get all of the normal upgrades. And then you have to have full health. Basically, it's basically like you have to have full health, you know, for the Hadouken and for the sorry, you can, of course, you can use an E-tank, you know, when you get close to the location and stuff there. But yeah, if you really need to. But yeah. So yeah. But yeah, but the thing is, it gives you the effect of all of the pink ships, basically. And it's kind of easy to figure out that that's thing in the game. Like, even when the first time we played, there's so many people that say that, oh, that's a negative of the game. But it's like, why is it a negative? Because of the fact that this is supposed to be the super secret thing, like the Hadouken and the you know, the Shoryuken and stuff that. Oh, this should have been the Tatsumaki Senpuken. Senpukyakuku. I think it's actually what it is. Senpukyakuku, I think it is. When it's Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. Whatever it is, but yeah. But yeah. Yeah, the Sigma 1 music is not that good in my opinion. Basically it's the Captain America fight. So that, but yeah. And basically you always wanna defeat Sigma 1 as quickly as possible in X3 and stuff there, so you can have more E-tanks for Sigma. But the thing is, you know, of course people argue like, okay, because the thing is like, the Golden Bomb is not something you're meant to get the first time you play through the game. Basically, the first time you play through, you're meant to get like one of the pink ships. And you have to choose which one, right? Okay, do you want to have double air dash? And you can basically dash like forward twice, or bad dash left or right twice. You can dash upwards twice if you want to, as well. Or you can combine two, so you can dash to left or right, and then up, for example. And stuff like that, so yeah. You have, of course, the armor, which reduces damage taken even further. But then, of course, a lot of people saying the best thing, of course, that you can get kinda is the hyper chip. Because the hyper chip is the one that allows you to have a thing that basically it has a certain amount of weapon energy, but then when you take damage, it fills up. So it's kind of like the whole ultimate attack that you can have in X4 that like the Giga attack, basically, pretty much, so yeah. But yeah, you need to take. But it's called basically like Hyper C, like Hyper Ship. And it basically fires your arm cannon, it fires charge shots. And it doesn't always fire the same charge shot, by the way. But it's a really good way to damage. Because the final Sigma form, or the Kaiser Sigma, only takes damage from charge shots from the X-Buster. So it knows like, oh, use rolling shield or whatever, you know, and stuff like that. And of course, if you have the Zed Saber, and you have the Golden Bomber, for example, then you're able to shoot the Sea Saber from the Hyper Ship and stuff like that. So then you don't even need to charge it normally and stuff like that. And of course, it's not always a guarantee that the first shot you make is going to be the Saber. Although I think it would be most of the time. At least I forgot what the percentage is on that and stuff like that, so yeah. But yeah. And of course, like certain things are very interesting, certain of these forms. Because you have Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken that Goku gets, and he also gets 10 times Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Pure Progress is what he gets, and he has 2 stages to that. Gogeta, the Dragon Ball Super 1, where there's the prologue team that plays if you wait on the screen long enough, or the one you first put up the game. that explains the story, like the prologue team. Because it was basically like Doppler created Paradise and stuff that, so yeah. So yeah, Gogeta, Dragon Ball Super, Super Saiyan. And then Super Sonic, that is the Dispo transformation. The password screen. Now this is also one of my more favorite password screen music, but yeah. The thing, of course, you know, going from X1 to X3, that's probably the reason why I liked X3 so much, the fact that X2 didn't come out in Europe. That means that X2 is the game that I have the least experience with, pretty much, of the NES games and stuff that, so yeah, so I find that to be harder than X3, which I know is pretty insane. Because the thing is, people always say, oh, X3 is so hard and blah 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 and stuff like that. And yes, you do take a lot of damage in X3 and stuff like that, but they're all like, the thing is just that the weapons in X3 are also good. That's one of the things I also really like about it. Like, a lot of the weapons are really good. And in X3, I forgot if it's the only X game that does this. But when you go, for example, there was a game back in the day that you could go check that had a value for all the bosses, but you had a value, for example, like you have several weaknesses on certain bosses. Like, for example, when you get the final hit on Vile, if you want to destroy him or not, you can use either the Ray Splasher or you can use the Spinning Blade to finish him off, or you can use it for the full fight, basically. So basically he has two weaknesses. But then there are also certain things that are the weakness, but then you have things that are not the weakness but still does more damage and stuff like that. So you have a more maybe I can explain it actually if I go in on the thing. I wonder if that thing is still up though, because it was a yeah, you basically need to go in on Game Facts and then MMX3 on Super Nintendo. So Mega Man X3, Super Nintendo, not that. Alright, it was on PC as well. So Super Nintendo. Do we have only with the bosses, like with the boss shot? No, because it only says the weakness of those bosses. New weapon. I forgot. Which is the earliest one? 1996. So there is one for 1996. No, that's not it. The weapon thing was really cool. Yeah, this is for the SNES here. You would think it would be the early one, that it would be the 1996 one there. There's one from 2001 there as well. Because it would be really bad if that's not known anymore, if that has been removed. Because before, for example, there was a certain thing that had like the values of like all the damages to the bosses and stuff that. Because there was basically one that had like the different bosses and that had like the whole, you know. That had like the weaknesses, but maybe they have been changed, certain things, you know, and stuff that, but yeah. Neon Tiger, no, 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 it's really a slow song, do, do, do. It's so weird that I cannot find. Because it seems like all of these are done in like the same style. Or maybe it doesn't exist anymore, like the really, really old one and stuff like that, because in-depth guys, you have game skipped. Would it be in the game skip then? No, because game skipped is just what they say. And there's like height and fact, there's Mega Man 0 sending, music track, 0 fact, 0 fact. In-depth guys. This is guide and walk to. There is no like there is no like boss. Because I remember back in the day there was something where you could see like, okay, like this is the damage tables basically. You could see the damage table, what each weapon did to each boss. And stuff that you could see like the damage it dealt. And none of that is here anymore. It seems like, at least. Because even when you went in on the 1996 one, that didn't have it as well. But why does it say 96 there? You know, like, okay, maybe it has been updated, but it's like, why do they remove the whole thing of, you know, like, why do... Why doesn't a single one have the whole, you know, all of the different stats? I'm just gonna go through this very quickly here and see. Or maybe this one is gonna be it. Cast of enemies. It's gonna be pretty far down then. See, because while they're Mark II, spinning blade weakness, it doesn't mention Ray Splasher there. and stuff that, so it's like... It's so weird, man. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. There's been nothing. There hasn't been a single one that has the whole, like the stats that I'm after specifically. I haven't seen that stat being anywhere. And this is the last one here. Yeah, acid burst. Is that the real name of it? Maybe it's not in this section actually, maybe it's actually used in the not Q&A. It's so weird that that isn't there anymore. No, there we have a boss shot. No, that's not the thing. Because the thing is that just shows you that thing, right? Because it's not the one that shows you there. But how do I find that then? Like, was it an old guide that was removed or something like that? Okay. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. Mega Man MMX3 damage shot. So for example, Mao the Giant, yeah, that's the one of the first. I didn't know that he was called that. But for example, Toxic Seahorse, Sex Buster, 1, 1, 2, 3. That's basically the different charge levels. So your regular bullet is 1. Your first set of shards, the green shot, that is 1. And then it's 2 damage from the blue one. And then it's 3 from like the max charge. And then it says what acid burst does. Try Thunder, for example, the charge version, that is 2. First hit cost deals 3. And deals 5. And then it's like C-Saber deals 16 and 20. And stuff like that. So that's basically like the why it's 2 there is because it's basically like it's split into 2, I believe. But yeah. So while Mark 2 Kangaroo Armor, and then while Mark 2 there. For example, Spinning Blade deals 2 damage, and it deals 5 damage with charged. And then Race Blaster deals 2, and deals 5, and then it deals 2. Because the charge, when you first charge it, it goes up into the air, and then it shoots shots, basically. So yeah, if I remember correctly, right, with Race Blaster, but yeah. So yeah. So Kaiser Sigma only takes damage from the shots, burst shots, and the thing. Så folk fan for God Car Machine Using Race Blast, of course, deals 3 damage and 5 with charge. Parasitic Bomb also deals 2 damage, for example. So that's a weaker weakness, but it's still a weakness and stuff that's, yeah. And for example, on beat, of course, Pride Thunder is actually good. On beat, I didn't know about that. The Pride Thunder apparently deals 3 damage and 2/1 or 2:1. I don't know what that means, if it's 3/2 damage from the first one, because the Pride Thunder is of course the triangle thing that it does at first. And then I'm guessing that when you punch down, that can deal damage, and then the electric that goes out can deal damage as well. But yeah, and the Frost Shield has 3, and then it says :5, 2, 3. So I'm guessing regular Frost Shield can deal 3 damage, and then of course when you charge up the Frost Shield, it becomes like a shield, and maybe the first hit deals 5, and then the one that jumps off and becomes like a thing on the ground, that is 3 damage, or something like that. But yeah. So there you can see like a lot of like bosses have certain minor weaknesses that is not doing the same super high damage. For example, Spinning Blade deals 2 damage to Balls Hornet and 3 damage charged. Of course, Gravity Well is what you really want to be using. That deals 4 damage with the normal ones and 6 damage with the charged up version, and that ticks certain amount of times, of course. Well, we're going over all the other teams now. Maybe we should finish with some PSX. What is it called? What's the song that's really good? I know that. What is it called? The Interstage. Is it Prologue Team? No, it's not Prologue Team. It's the first stage. First stage OST. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. It's weird that you have to go in on the Mega Man knowledge base to find this here, but yeah. Yeah, because on the first boss it's not possible to have certain of these weapons, but they do have stats. For example, Spinning Blade would completely wreck Mao the Giant as a boss. For whatever weird reason, Spinning Blade does 15 to 30. That's high. That's basically 1 damage lower than the Sea Saber would have done to it, but the 30 is bigger than the Sea Saber ever does. So I'm guessing 30 is what they have in health, right, a boss? I think, right? I think 30 is what a health bar is, so Charge Spinning Blade would kill it in 1 hit on Mother Giant. Nah, not that button. How could I press the help button there? That was weird. For experts, the 4 damage values are listed according to how long the weapon is charged. The first number is damage done with uncharged shots. The second number is when the weapon is charged slightly cyan. Third number is when experts is charged some more yellow. Fourth number is damage down from the combined charge shots pink. For the 8 special weapons, the first number is damage down when the weapon is used in normal fire. The second is when the weapon is used in the charge state. For acid burst, the first set of values is damage done in its normal state. First number is damage from the original acid globe. Second damage is damage from the smaller acid globes. Damn, the state select team is so much better in the PlayStation version. Because then it kind of slaps. Because it's definitely more heavier. But you can hear it like the drums. Try thunder. Yeah, for sets heavy, the first number is damage on one weapon is swung at close range. Second number is the shockwave produced when the seeds are swung from a distance, provided the arm parts have been equipped. Yeah. For Mao the Giant, all damage values aside from the first 3 levels of the expansion were found with the use of a cheat device. Yeah. Topless army. What bosses? Triad Thunder. Torayado Sanda. Torayado Sanda. So yeah. Oh wow, there you have the shot there. What the Triad Thunder does to each boss. X-equip with Triad Thunder, which is the one that has the purple and the greenish thing. You know, I love those sprites, like the different, like the X-equipped with Triad Thunder, the whole, you know, sprites for when he has the weapon, you know, stuff like that. Spinning blade. Supinning bröd. Supinging bröd. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm just thinking about like how to do the whole bad English thing, or you know, whatever, you know. Spinning blade is really good. Triad Thunder is really good. Acid burst is of course pretty insane, because acid burst is kind of a bit like the thing that's in Unreal, the GS Bio Rifle. But like GS Bio Rifle in the first Unreal Tournament game, for example, like it doesn't do that much damage. But then if you don't have a shield belt or any sort of armor in Unreal Tournament, and you get hit by 30 shards, like GS Bio Rifle, it is not damage, but it's just called Bio Rifle, I think, in Unreal Tournament. So yeah. Acid Burst, known as Acido Rashu. I never remember it being called Acid Burst though in the Super SNES version. I think it was called something else, like Acid Shot or something like that. Or maybe it's like wrong translation sometimes. Yeah, there. Speaking of Acid Burst, it's the Xenoxis horse. Oh yeah, there was the Blitz Buffalo. It's probably skipped this because I'd already listened to the full song, so probably skipped it. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Because it's almost like a Doom's Day, or it's like really, really deep, like doom. It's like really slow, and then you hear like drums, but you hear the whole, not like a regular drumstick, but you hear the other thing that you can use, the thing that's softer. and then you hear the other thing. But yeah, it's like they make it like really slow. And I don't know if it's supposed to be that it is technically the intro stage from Mega Man X, if it's that place frozen over towards the end or whatever, right? But there's a lot of interesting things with it, you know. But yeah. Anyway, let's go to Toxic Seahorse again. Yeah, Toxic Seahorse completely slaps in the PS6 version. It kind of sounds like a bit like a party music thing. And it has that whole interesting thing, like in the beginning I feel like it's almost a bit like a homage a bit to Boomer Kovangan in a bit of a ways. Okay, it's forward at first, right? And the enemies there changes. It's kind of like X3 has similarities to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I know that's gonna sound stupid, but did you know that just like in X1, like of course in X1 you know certain things changes, you know, or beat Chill Penguin and Burning Nomad, aka Flame Mammoth stage changes, which is kind of why you want to do Flame Mammoth first, so you get to experiencing it with the flames and stuff that, and that makes it harder. And beating, of course, the bosses without dash boots are harder and stuff that. But by the way, I did once actually. I even had a playthrough of it back in the day, I think. The one where I only used the buster on the bosses or whatever, right? And on that one I tried to wait with doing Chill Penguin as late as possible and stuff that, because yeah, because it just becomes way harder without the dash, you know, and stuff that, but yeah. Because it's like how many people have like experienced like Flame Mammoth without the ice on it? Because the thing is, you start with Chill Penguin, that's like normally what you do, unless you're doing a speedrun, of course. But even then, right? But yeah, we got Tunnel Rhino. Tunnel Rhino. Tunnel Rhino. Yeah, it's worse. It's not as heavy as the Super NES version, which is a bit weird. This should have been like more like heavy metal, if anything, you know, and stuff that. But yeah. But I would say like both the interstage music, Stereo Team is really good, Stage Select Team is really good, Blitz Buffalo is really good, Toxic Seahorse is good. This I would say is only like average pretty much. Catfish, I forgot how Catfish was, like, you know, stuff like that, but yeah. Yeah, this one is actually interesting. I'm blasting up the volume here a bit. I like how it's like it has like and then it has like it's like a high tempo song. Like it's and then you have like almost like synth sounds. I can see this is actually, yeah, the Walt Catfish is actually really good. I didn't realize the Walt Catfish one was so good. Because I remember like seeing people saying, oh, the Walt Catfish one is really good. And I'd be like, huh? Because, you know, I really like the Super Nintendo version of it. This one was really good on the Super Nintendo though. Right, this is the one that has like this kind of sounds like it would have been in like the Turtles game or in a Turtles game. It misses certain things though from like the SNES version, so I wouldn't say that this is as good, but this is definitely has like more. This sticks out more. This sticks out more than the Super SNES version of the song. Yeah, this definitely makes Nguyen Tiger better. Because the problem was, Nguyen Tiger's song, as I said on Super Nintendo, is very slow on the Super Nintendo. And I get it right, because it is a slower stage. In a certain way, it's like, it's not like Super Mario, it's not like enemies, you know. It has like more platforming in it. It's a bit surprised, you know. Because it basically feels like you're going into a zoo or into a jungle, and like Neon Tiger has like broken out or whatever, you know. And maybe some kind of habitat or whatever, and he's broken out and he's used his claws. That you can notice like grids in the background, like grids of like fencing that's like destroyed and stuff that. And then you're like, okay, someone has cut through this and stuff that, and Neon Tiger has the claws things, which he can also block with, by the way. So yeah. And it's the eon when he like shoots with it, you know, because he has because his tail is basically like a light bulb. But I guess it's kind of weird. Or maybe he was like the whole, you know, park guardian or whatever, the guardian of the park. Or whatever, he's a park ranger and went tiger. And now we have the thing is though, this one is really good on the Super Nintendo there. Gravity Beetle. And it's cool kind of how it's a plane, right? How you're going into a plane, which feels like, okay, like, makes it like be a bit reminiscent of the one in next to the Wheel Gator, because that's kind of like a ship or like a thing that's going on land, kind of like a tank or whatever it is supposed to be. And then of course with the whole thing is that the Storm Eagle is just like an airport thing, you know. But yeah. We'll see. Okay, so it's missing something here towards the end. It feels like it's missing a certain section that the SNES song has, that this does not really have. Okay, the intro was not good on the song. I can understand maybe they wanted to sound like wasps and hornets, being like bzz, 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 bzz. But it's really cool always on the stage, right? How the things you see in the background, the ones that looks like insects, those shopper things, those are the shopper things on the first stage that you shoot down. Those shopper things that you and Zero like slash down, basically. Those things that are invading via the air. So it's basically like Blast Hornet is the leader of the Air Force or whatever. He is responsible for producing like the air weapons and stuff that. So yeah. You know, I like the SNES song of this. This had a kind of bad start, but it's definitely better later on. Okay, Doppler Stage 1 and 2. I don't get how people see this as a better Doppler Stage 1 and 2 song than the one that's in SNES. Because Okay, I can understand there are like certain really good parts in it. It kinda is funny enough that it reminds me of the Final Fantasy X remaster, the thing that plays in Luca, the whole you know, dun 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 dun, because it has the whole do 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 do. It can has the whole do thing. Yeah, the boss battle actually sounds way better though. Because the boss battle is not that super good on the Super Nintendo, the regular boss battle. The Doppler music though is way worse. Because that team is so mega super good on the SNES. Do. That the Wild team is really good though. What is the staff roll like? Okay, this does not sound at all like the one that's on the Super Nintendo. I think the staff roll alternate is the thing that's used though. Yeah, because this one sounds like the one that's on the Super Nintendo, where they show you the different bosses and then it shows the power and the speed, the RP points. Reploid points, I'm guessing. And this one is really good as well. But the whole alternate one, right, is that not the one that they used in the game then, and that they used the other staff roll music, because that one is way worse? Or maybe they have two staff rolls in the game. Maybe there's one that has used the developer text and the one that's the ones that developed the game, so yeah. New. Oh, apparently if you put this at apparently if you put this one at a certain speed, apparently if you put this one at 1.25 speed, it sounds more like the SNES version. I could see that, because it feels like a lot of songs has been slowed down from the SNES version. I wonder if that works with other songs as well. Yeah, they kind of sound better. The interstate sounds better at 1.25 speed. That's actually pretty funny. It sounds more hectic, like, oh shit, my base is invaded, like doom. Okay, so what's the Zero Team gonna be like though? Damn. It's so funny. A lot of the songs are so... They sound so much closer to the SNES version when you speed them up to 1.25. Okay, let's take one that wasn't that good. Like Thunder Rhino. Damn, it sounds so much better. They slowed down the songs too much when they made a PlayStation version. Instead of that, like they slowed down the songs so much. If they would have had a 1.25% increase on, it seems, most of the songs, it just sounds so much better. Okay, Toxic Seahorse, which I already like. Okay, Toxic Seahorse is a bit too fast. Okay, Toxic Seahorse actually feels worse. It's fucking... It's like super stressed. I mean, it's kinda good, but it's like not... Well, now it's way closer to the SNES version, because this one was slowed down a lot. Which is kind of what's good about it. But now it sounds close to the SNES version. I think that if we go to... Yeah, 1.5, then it's very close to the SNES version, because this song is already slow. Yeah. At 1.5 it's very close to the SNES version, because this one was slowed down a lot there. But it's a Buffalo music. Like the PlayStation X version is way slower. So if you have it 1.5 increase, then it sounds better. And I would say the Toxic Seahorse probably needs to be slowed down. Nah, that's too slow. It sounds good on the normal speed. Toxic Seahorse is one that where they got the speed done right. Toxic Seahorse sounds close to the SNES version at its normal speed. But it feels like on certain ones, for example, Blitz Buffalo one. This one is super slow. And it's really good. It sounds really good when it's super slow. But if you prefer like the SNES version of a certain song, then you can just speed it up and it sounds so much better. And it sounds good both in 1.25% increased speed and in 1.5 as well. Which is actually pretty interesting. Anyway, I think that's gonna about do it actually. Obviously, how much of the text I would upload today though, by the way. There was very little left, by the way, because I was drinking most of this for the breakfast today that I ate. Long time ago, several hours ago actually now. Trying to get everything out because I hate wasting, you know. Dublin, Ireland. This one has like the whole thing, the whole surface on it, you know, it's different. But yeah, I didn't know that we were gonna enjoy the X music for so long, the X3 music. Yeah, Pipeline Punch. That's one of those like use flavors pretty much. That's like juice from different fruits in it, you know, which also makes it good. The other one, the first juice flavor I think was the one that had the whole a Mango Loco thing, the one with the Muerte thing, the Los Muertes or whatever they call it, you know, like the Day of the Dead pretty much, you know, the whole, you know, and stuff. That one is really, really good as well. That's also one with a lot of different uses in it, you know, and stuff that, so yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good flavors. The sad thing is there are certain flavors not available anymore. That's really hard to get the hands on. Like I, for example, really enjoy like the Rehab, like Monster Rehab. Like Rehab had a lot of really, really good flavors and stuff that I didn't try all the flavors. Like, you had a green Rehab, you had a certain red or orange one, you had like the yellow orange one, and you had one that was like lemon tea, because the Rehab one was more like tea-like. I think all of them were kind of a bit tea-like, you know, and stuff that, so yeah. So you had a lot of like, yeah. There was so many like monster flavors and stuff, that's, yeah. Tea plus pink lemonade plus energy. And of course the coffee ones never came out in Sweden for whatever reason. They're like the Monster Javas, as they were called. Monster Java is what they were called. Oh wow, is that an import one then? Yeah. Yeah, that one is sold out already, the Java Monster. I don't know what it is that a certain site, certain those pricing sites that has like prices on it, gives me antivirus warning for whatever weird reason. Like it's like really weird, like why, like it's what you search for, like certain things. And they have like more Java flavors now that didn't exist before, like the green one and stuff, that's, yeah. But I think they released a different coffee flavor that I did try. Monster, right? Made one. They made one that had like a way smaller can, I think. Was it Monster that did that? I forgot what brand it was that did that. It was a brand that basically released like a smaller thing that had like, I don't think it was Nocco that did. Maybe it was Monster that did. Monster coffee flavors, because I'm trying to remember, like, was it Monster that did that? No, yeah, the Monster Espresso thing, I think it is. Right. They kinda look familiar. Yeah, this was only 25 centiliters, yeah. But they've changed the design on them. That's not how they look like when I had them. But they're only 25 centiliters, so they're basically half, right, of a regular Monster. And stuff that's, so yeah. But yeah. Here you have some more flavors. Oh wow. Oh, there they have one with Lewis Hamilton. That's the newer flavor with Lewis Hamilton. There was like an old flavor as well. So then you had the one with the Doctor, which was of course Valentino Rossi in MotoGP, and Lewis Hamilton was of course in F1. Although he's not my preferred driver, you know, like I'm more of a Fernando Alonso guy. You pressed something by mistake, and then it's like, do you want to ping? God damn it. Yeah, there's the ultraviolet one. The ultra flavors are of course the sugar-free versions and stuff there, but yeah. But There's been like several like monster flavors that haven't come out in Sweden and stuff like that, but yeah. Yeah, but they say that it's an American energy drink. Mercedes F1, Volkswagen Rallycross, VM, Ken Block. But yeah. But here it's basically... Yeah, okay. But they always have the whole Dublin thing on it, you know. Oh, that's funny. Where it comes from in California. Corona! Shit, Corona. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. 1935, but it was called Hanson's. And they sold like fruit juice. Oh, that makes sense then why the fruit juice flavors are pretty good. But they went bankrupt. Yeah. Bankrupt. Oh, so then the fruit juices weren't that good. Evil statist, I see. We don't take kindly to you kind around here. Oh no, surprised Pikachu face you. Yeah, by the way, I found a site yesterday actually where you can get your hands on Lechonk as like a plushie. Lechonk. And it's actually not that expensive actually, and it's like it's 18 centimeters in height and 25 in width. So yeah, and it weighs 250 grams or 8.82 ounces. The O said. So 18 centimeters high, that's 7.09 inches, and 25 centimeters width is 9.84 inches. So yeah, there they say it's weight 350 grams. But that might be because of packaging, of course, because it's probably going to be in a package. Lechonk plush. Lechonk. Doing the memes. And then, you know, I found the Corsair. Like, because it's like if you search for regular USB memory, you cannot find this, but it's a Flash Voyager thing, you know, because the biggest USB memory is basically 1 terabyte, and it's a Corsair USB 3.1 Flash Voyager GTX, but it's pretty damn expensive. And the speed that it moves over data is still only the whole 440 megabyte per second, which is what most USB memories are today, I believe. Even like my older one is that, I think. But yeah. And that's both the read speed and the write speed as well. So yeah. But yeah, it's pretty good. But of course it's very, very expensive for that price. If you compare to what a 256 gigabytes one thing costs, you know. But yeah. Kingston also has one that's more like 1 terabyte and stuff like that. Like those are the ones that has 1 terabyte. But Kingston has one that's only like a lot lower in cost. So is that so much cheaper? Why is this one only basically above a little bit above 1,000 Swedish kronor? How can that one be so much cheaper? And it has a quicker read speed and it has a quicker write speed. So why is that? Is that not for PC then? Or is that because it's not a flash drive? Is that why? Is this not a flash drive? It doesn't seem like it. Is that why it's so expensive then, right? Because it's a flash drive, right? Yeah, because this is a flash voyager. This is like a flash drive. But why does this one cost like 3,600 Swedish kronor, which is basically like insanely expensive? Because you're paying like 3.5 Swedish kronor per gigabyte for that one. And the read speed and the write speed is not that impressive. I'm gonna search for it and see if I can find like why is it so expensive. Like when you compare to the other one that only costs like 1,000, basically it's like almost, it's basically like 3.5 times cheaper. A certain other USB memory that has 1 terabyte. But is it because that is not a flash drive and this is a flash drive? That's why it's so expensive. I'm gonna say here if there's like any explanation like why is this so much more expensive. Yeah, okay, so experience portable USB storage with the speed of a solid state drive, high speed 3D and RAND memory unlocks read speed up to 440 megabytes per second and write speeds. Premium rug sync alloy housing with aluminum as it protects your data in style. Optimized for USB generation, blah blah blah. It's also a compatible devices laptop, but I'm personal gaming business. I mean, it works also in, you know, if price is your only concern, then our cheaper option. This one is expensive because it's one of the top performing flash drives in real world average use, not cherry picked benchmarks. The build is solid and rugged. If you're looking for a very fast flash drive that will last a long time, this one to spend money on. It actually shows up as if it was an external hard drive as opposed to a flash drive, but functions as far as it is a removable flash drive. Nice. Because I believe that if you have like a flash drive, for example, there are things you can do with certain like retro games when you have like a flash drive. You can basically have like a virtual like Super Nintendo or something like that, you know. Not gonna say like how you do it and stuff like that, but yeah. But I heard it's like flash, what a lot of people use when they play like certain like randomizers and stuff like that. Like they have like the flash drive work like a virtual version of a thing or whatever. Like I don't know how it works exactly, but yeah. But supposedly you can get very close to the actual hardware if you're using like a flash drive and stuff that like you can have it like work like a console, or you can have it work like several consoles or whatever, you know, and stuff that. So yeah, which is pretty interesting. So yeah. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this time for the Xenoxis show for the 20th of April. Or 20th of May, I mean. 20th of May for 2023. So they cover some Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 stuff today. And I will probably probably link the first part of it. I'm just gonna link into the old video that I'm also probably gonna be uploading today. Then the 21st of April video. I'll probably upload that one first, and I will upload this one. And I might even make a link to that old one if you want to read the first part of the text and stuff like that. And I'm gonna have the rest of the text go into the skipping of this one and into the comment section as well. And stuff like that. Oh, before we go. Yeah, this is the one. This is the Monster Aussie lemonade thing. Aussie lemonade has some pretty nice underwater art. You know, looks pretty nice. Pretty nice. This is really good. I would say this one is gonna be probably like sell really well during the summer and stuff like that when it gets hotter. Especially since this is probably like really good to pour into like a larger glass. I would have to get some like super large glass because this will not even fit in our bigger glasses downstairs that are pretty big and stuff like that. Like this, because this is 500 milliliters, right? So you need something that can hold over half a liter or half a liter. So yeah, because this one probably with a lot of ice in it is probably like really good. And stuff like that, yeah. Then of course we have this. Ignore the bell on this for a second, by the way. Because the bell is not part of it. The bell I got from another thing. And stuff like that. The bell I got actually from a pretty expensive like Easter bunny thing. Like a chocolate one. It was I think it was a Lindt one. Lindt is a pretty good chocolate brand, by the way. So yeah, and then you got like a bell thing, and then I thought, oh, that would fit on this. On this chicken here. On the chicken, like. And you can call it Baka Soup Junior. Yeah, that's what you can do. And then if you press here, it makes noise. For whatever reason, I don't know why they decided to do that, but yeah. So you can have a fluffy ball. And you can have it sit somewhere, you know, and stuff like that. And the bell works, by the way. So you can cause like a blizzard with it, you know, and stuff like that, and make people fall asleep with it. What a blizzard with it. Fantasy 9 reference. Like the whole pling, and then like, oh, where did this blizzard come from? Pling. But anyway, this has been Xenoxis, and I'll see you all